Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. Hi, beautiful souls. Hey. Let's make sure you get the energy right. I hope you're feeling amazing. There is so much happening in the world today, and I'm just happy to be here connecting with you all on this fine, beautiful day. So wherever you're at, tuning me from whenever, morning, day, night, what's up? We're in this together. So if you're new here, my name is Vanessa. Give a like, a subscribe. You can find out more about me, just click below. So I wanted to start this video. It's gonna be pretty short, but first talking to you all about my son, Camden, because he's so much a part of everything I do for the rest of my life. And God bless his soul, he is on the other side. And I'm not gonna dive too deep into the Nolan Wells case right now. I will have a video coming up eventually, but make sure y'all are praying for Nolan Wells' family, because it is the hardest thing. And shout out to all the mama bears out there, dads as well, who have ever lost a child. You know that pain is unbearable. It is the hardest thing to ever go through. For me, one of the hardest things to go through. And yeah, he is a big part of my inspiration. He's a big part of why I'm here, why I show up. He will forever be my motivation and the beautiful reason why I find meaning in life. So as I said, there's a lot going on in the world right now, as we can see. I don't know when you're watching this because it is timeless. That's a nice thing about YouTube. It's gonna find you whenever it's meant to find you. When your spirit team says it's meant to find you, that's when it will find you. But yes, it is around the time that Nolan Wells recently transitioned, and it is one of the biggest cases I've ever seen in my history of life. And it's for a reason. It's for a purpose, and we are currently going through a great awakening. Everything is crumbling. Every industry is collapsing. The fake and frauds and phonies are all being revealed. People cannot hide anymore. That's the time we're living in. People cannot hide. Maybe 5-10 years ago, sure. Nowadays, like collectively, people's intuitions is so thoroughly connected and tapped in. People's spidey senses are so tapped in. So it would be foolish to think otherwise. But the good news is that on the other side, and many prophets have predicted this for many, many years now, hundreds and thousands of years, but we are entering this new world, and it has to crumble before the new world begins, which is a promising time to some degree, because it's like, oh, well, what are you going to create? Like something itching me here. But yeah, what are you going to create in this world, and how are you going to help contribute into this new world? A lot of you could be feeling like, I don't know what my purpose is. What is my purpose? Shameless plug, do check out my book, Believe in Your Soul. I'll mention it again at the end, but this book was created so that people could connect more to their soul, so that eventually you can figure out what your purpose is. And that purpose could be ever changing. We could have many purposes. In the case of myself, I feel like my purpose has evolved, is how I would put it. So in this time right now, it's kind of like the wild, wild west. It's a free-for-all. You can invent, who knows, maybe the best invention that's ever to exist. There's no limit. So don't cap yourself in what your creativity is guiding you to create, and what you're being guided to show up as and do in this world. I want to touch on gratitude. So as we're going through these rough times, I would say, the way I view these times, and the reason why I call it rough, I think we can all see and feel that it's rough, but for me, being a shaman, I can feel it collectively, and I think a lot of people can. It feels like trauma. It feels like trauma. On a collective level, it feels like, I will use the Nolan Wells case in this as an example, but how that whole structure and system of what we know is supposed to be just, for example, and we don't know. We're in the stage where we don't know what happened exactly. there is a level of trauma, like when you see people panicking, when you see sides being taken, that's a trauma response. So when we are going through this level of trauma collectively, and it makes sense, like I said earlier, the world is transitioning, transforming, there is an opportunity to cultivate the energy and practice of gratitude. That's one of the things you can do, is practice more gratitude, being grateful for the roof over your head. God willing, you have one. Being grateful for your path in life. Some people don't, and that is their path, but still finding gratitude. Being grateful for your health, the health that you do have. You know, there's so many things. There's a gazillion things that you can be grateful for if you just look. So cultivating more gratitude is one of the things you can do during these times right now, as the world is crumbling before our eyes, okay? Not to be morbid or anything, that's why I'm laughing about it, because I know on the other side of this transformation is gonna be a rebirth of a whole new world. The next thing you can do is connect with the divine. This has been coming up a lot with me and my one-on-one clients. I do offer sessions as well if you wanna connect with me one-on-one. Info's below. But one of the things that comes up a lot for me is with people is connecting to the divine. Do you pray? Do you believe in God? Do you pay attention to signs? Do you believe that there's something else out there co-creating with you? The universe, Allah, Jah, Yah, you know, whatever you want to call that essence that I truly believe is deep down within us, source energy. People do ask me because they know I'm very spiritual, like, oh, what do you think about God? And like, you know, personally, I don't believe it's a man in the sky. And I think especially in this country, in America, we have been indoctrined to believe such things, and really a lot of places around the world. But I think there's something really beautiful when you can truly connect and cultivate your own connection and relationship with God, with the divine, with the Most High. What does that look like for you? You know, whether you're reading the Quran, the Torah, the Bible, I truly feel like there is an ever essence, source energy that is woven within all of that and within self. Self with the capital S. So a lot of Eastern philosophers do focus on meditating and connecting with the self within with the capital S, which I think is powerful. So connecting to God, making sure you're praying. Just by praying, you could have miracles happen instantly. I've seen it too many times to not believe there's something greater than me that exists and is operating in this collective world. Also connecting to your spirit guides, your spirit team, your ancestors. I do make ceramics. I'll get into those at the end, but one of the reasons why I was led to create and work on my ceramics that I hand make is so that people could connect more deeply to their ancestors, to their spirit team, really just to self. The more you connect to self, the more you're able to connect with source, if that makes sense, because source is within. The more you're able to connect with spirit guides and your spirit team, the more you are connecting with self. So really cultivating an energy of reverence, of ritual in your everyday life. I'll do a sneak peek and show you some of my pieces. Okay, so this is my brand, Sacred Céramique, and the website info is below. If you find something you love, I definitely recommend purchasing because it's one of a kind. I only make one, no duplicates. They're all very unique. They're all wabi-sabi, not meant to be perfect, okay? We embrace imperfection here and authenticity. They do have sacred symbols. I'll show you one more once we end this session. But yeah, connecting to the divine, cultivating reverence. I'll just show you guys now. I do have this beautiful cup. So you can use this cup for morning tea rituals, having a slow morning. And again, that word reverence, bringing more mindfulness to your day. You know, you can sit down on your couch in the morning and set your intention and slowly sip away. They do have sacred symbols, like this one is a West African Ndinkra, which represents beauty. So just these little reminders. Or you can give it as an offering to your ancestors and put coffee in the cup and give it to them. Ancestors love coffee. They love black coffee, okay? It will get them going. But all in that to say, you connecting with a deeper part of self and to a deeper part of your ancestors and your spirit team and God, source, the universe, will improve the quality of your life. You might as well. I don't know who that message is for. You might as well. Because if you're not doing that, then life is one way. You just might as well try. And not with the expectation of like, oh, give me this. You know, it's not a genie. Although when you do, this is another point, the law of attraction. My next point is the law of attraction. So it can somewhat seem like that at certain times. Like I was talking about miraculous moments. Yes, it can seem like that. But when you're coming from an open space where you're not just in super control mode, because sometimes when we get too much into control freaks, we do not allow that divine essence to co-create with us, because that energy is going to be more powerful. Yeah. And it's interesting because while I say we're source, we are just as powerful, if that makes sense. I truly believe that at the essence of our soul, we are all one, and that one connects to source. But I don't want to impose my beliefs on you all, so I'm not going to get too into that. But yeah, connecting to spirit, the divine, ancestors. I could do a whole video on connecting with ancestors, so we'll probably do that another time. But the law of attraction, this takes me to the law of attraction. So cultivating all of these practices will really help you build a much more positive mindset and maneuver through life in a much healthier way. Connecting with the law of attraction is an ongoing process. I personally recommend watching The Secret as many times as you need to. It's a phenomenal documentary, okay? It is phenomenal. Life-changing if you're open to it. You might as well. That's the message again. You might as well. You might as well try the law of attraction. There's many different methods to the law of attraction. See what works. But the point is you decide and declare on what you want. You believe it's already here. The belief is very important. Believing is key. When it comes to law of attraction, believing is key. It's essential. So you believe that you already have it, and then you find it showing up in your life. This can be from a small scale to very, very large scale. The universe has no limits. So that's a really beautiful process, is looking into different ways you can do law of attraction. I like this 369 method. I recommend just writing it down. Some of the things I've manifested in my life were just from writing it down. You can say it, words or spells. You can declare it into the universe. That in itself is a law of attraction. I was gonna say law of manifestation. I guess so. I guess it really is. Yeah. And then the next thing I will suggest is positive affirmations. Now, all these things I'm suggesting, these are things that I have to try to do daily. Okay. Positive affirmation. So talking nice to yourself. Are you talking nice to yourself? Are you loving yourself? Are you being kind to yourself? Really, you know, we can have such an inner critic. I find this a lot with my one-on-one clients, and a lot of times that voice is outdated. A lot of times that voice isn't even theirs. It's like a parental voice from when they were like 5. So making sure you're talking nicely to yourself. I like to do this in the mirror when I can remember to. State positive affirmations, make sure I'm looking at myself, gazing into my eyes, speaking beautifully to myself. Because, you know, truly, we're not taught that. Collectively, our society, this world, we're not taught to do that. Now, how different would the world be if we were taught to have positive affirmations and to speak positively to ourselves from the time we're babies, kids, from the time we're 3, 4, because a child starts understanding words pretty early on. So it's never too late, okay? You could be 80 years old, it ain't too late. Start talking nice to yourself, love on yourself. Be kind to yourself. And pay attention to that voice within. Is it coming from a good, loving place, or is it from an old voice that you heard, you know, from someone who wasn't being kind to you and it stuck? And now you adopted that voice. It's time to kick that critic out. But on a more healthy note, I did have someone share with me once a really good exercise. If you are struggling with this inner critic that's vicious, you can ask the inner critic, what do you need from me? And maybe it needs a hug. Maybe it needs some attention. So yeah, that's another way to look at this, to adjust your viewpoint on it. And then next, make sure you're doing the shadow work. Make sure you're doing the work where you're looking at what's triggering you and why, forgiving who you need to forgive, including self, accepting things, and just doing that work where you set a little time aside to look at the uncomfortable places. And that is where you might find some of your most transformational modes of growth, is by doing shadow work. And for me, I truly believe it's a constant practice that needs to happen. I don't feel like any of us ever gets to a point where it's like, ta-da, I've arrived, I'm good, like scotch-free. You know, I truly feel like we're always gonna have to keep evolving if we choose to, if we want to evolve. Not everybody's on that path, and that's okay. Meditation, this is one of the final points I'm gonna make, is meditate. Make sure you're taking time to ground, put your feet in grass, sit down in grass. One of the best ways I love to meditate, and I do recommend this to a lot of my clients, is to go out in nature, find a tree, thank the tree. You wanna thank it, give it some love, and sit in front of the tree and ask it to help you as you sit down and meditate. I like to set a timer and ask it to help release whatever needs to be released, and let it compost, let it recycle, go into the earth, and help you let it go. Just sitting in nature, and science is proving this. They're finding a lot of proof that just being in nature is extremely healing to your nervous system, etc. So even if you're just like in a funk, you're stressed, get out and sit in nature. But yeah, definitely don't forget to thank the tree, Mama Earth. And let's see if I can read my handwriting on this last point here. Yeah, I think I've landed. I think I've stated what I needed to say, and make sure you're staying connected to source, to self. That is how you will be in alignment. And yeah, if you enjoyed this message, definitely hit that like, subscribe button. Again, my name is Vanessa. I was very happy to be here with you all. Check out my book. I did write a book. This is the author's copy, so that's why it looks like this. It is available on Amazon. Just search for Believe in Your Soul by Vanessa. My last name is long, so by Vanessa Lemestre. Okay, and then yeah, check out my products. I do make handmade, unique batches, one of a kind, intentional pieces for your home. Take care, y'all. Oh, and if anybody wants to book me for a private session, info is below. Peace and love, blessings, y'all. Bye.